Having great travels. Be safe. Tell him to stop putting so much lip gloss on his lips. This lime. I'm just gonna do this real quick. Look at the Moors. Look at the Moors. Look at the Moors. Yes, look at the Moors. All right, now we're gonna do the class. So let's see if I can get that on.
I'm just gonna do a sample. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're good. All right, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Y'all little. Why y'all sit there? Because the juice is over there. Some juice over there in the corner. It's an outlet over there. Go to the outlet over there in the corner. Go ahead. Unplug. I'm left hand. No, you have right and wrong. I'm in my right. All right. We're gonna find out who's gonna do the mantra. Y'all think I forgot? Y'all think I forgot? I ain't shit. I want
next week.
What?
Next week.
Next week.
I need some more time.
Next week. We don't die, we multiply. That's the mantra. Okay, am I crooked? I don't want to feel like making it right. I'm just a tad bit crooked.
Okay, this is the first, like I said, this is the first one we're going to send out.
I don't feel like making it.
Hey, let's go.
Oh, I didn't put it in. Do not disturb. Let me go put it in. Do not disturb. Let's see if I can do it.
I'm not
Do
saying
not disturb. There we go. I did it, y'all. I remembered.
I already got mine ready. That's what I'm doing.
It's not Moorish. Let me tell y'all. Y'all gonna crack up at me.
Yeah. Go wait till we get to the post office for this one. I'm gonna say, I heard what you said, you didn't got it. You just take it, they'll take the number off of here, then they'll stamp it, and
It's working. It's working.
they don't focus that at all. Just take that back. You know what I mean?
It's not necessary to do it.
Yeah, you just make sure you fill that out.
We have to fill one up for different departments.
How you doing? Nice job. Cool about it.
All right. Why are you over here? Alright, where we at? Oh! Did you just call? No, she said she tried the front. She said sugar. She said who? Sugar honey iced tea. She said sugar honey iced tea. Alright. Let's see. Who knows the mantra? Who wants to come up here? Which one? How many is there? It's two of them?
The first one you put out.
Right here.
Nobody got the mantra?
I got the mantra.
I got that this morning.
Somebody got to come up here and volunteer and say the mantra out loud. Just one time. Just one time. Where you going? Who's going to say the mantra? Ain't nobody paying attention. Come on, Sonia, you know. You was the first one to say it on Facebook. And she's trying to act like. What was the first section? What was the first? You want to do your best? I mean, because we just did it together. Go ahead, Sonia. If you can remember it. No. What you doing? How you gonna talk like that? How you gonna talk like that?
She was practicing.
She was practicing? She was practicing. Let's see. Let's see where we at. Oh, wait a minute. What was that? You ain't even gotta wonder what it is. There we go. I don't know that one. You ain't fine with camera. You gotta just read it. Wait a minute. Can everybody be quiet, please? Class is in session. Oh, you got something for me?
I got a half hour.
You got a half hour? Okay.
And the Moorites and the Carolites. I'm Aboriginal, this is Moorish National, and I'm
That was practice. That was practice.
You gotta say it out loud. You gotta inflect your voice so we all can hear
I am
you.
Sonia Osprey, being proprio persona, juris, proprio solo, and proprio heritage at all times. I'm a descendant of the great Pharaoh Kemet, and the Moabites and the Canaanites, and I'm an Aboriginal, Indigenous, Moorish American national. I'm exercising my rights at this time and all point in times. You are commanded to state your name and your nationality. For the record, immediately without further comment. I'm the law.
I am the government. And you do not have jurisdiction over me.
And I command that you set me free. Immediately. Return my property to me. Cease all, desist all actions and contact. Take your leave and never return. This is your due notice process of notice attempt to leave.
How's she doing all this? Like, how's she doing all this walking around? All right, anybody else? Anybody else want to read? Where everybody? Everybody's out in the hallway now?
Yeah.
Everybody ran out. What is it? All right, you know how not necessarily to memorize things because you want to know what it is that you are saying, right? So you want to recall it in sections. And you always start in 4 sections. So it's like 4 sections. The first section is what? I am right. That's the easiest way to do it. Do it one section at a time. And you say, I am your appellation. So I am Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, a Moorish American national, in proprio persona, sui juris, so proprio solo, and proprio heritage. That's the first section. And then you get that in your mind before you go to the next one. And then the next one is what? State where you're from. So the first one is the statement of who you are. The second one is a statement from who you are, where you're from. So what's that one?
I'm a Moorish American national.
No, that was the first one.
Original indigenous.
Nope, that was the third one. I am the descendant of the great pharaohs of Kemet and the Moabites and the Canaanites. Then they added the section where you have the Aboriginal piece. I added that one, where it talks about
exercising your rights at this time and all point in time.
Right. And then, like, the shorter version is you're commanded to state your name and your nationality on the record, for the record, immediately without further comment. Light Tajiri Bay actually did a Facebook or a YouTube live earlier today to kind of give you an idea of how to do this whenever challenged in terms of the foreign colonizers, right? And then the one I like, which is I am the law, I am the government, and you do not have jurisdiction over me, and I command you to set me free immediately, return my property to me, and cease and desist all actions and contact, and take your leave never to return. I added this due process because the due process is the piece where you have to get competent and get comfortable in expressing what you're going to do if you don't do as you are commanded, which is this is your due process of my intent to lien you if you do not do as I command and take your leave. Islam. So you want to always say that, and don't just say that, send it. Send it like at least 3 days after you say it. For whoever you have to say it.
And don't forget to get their name.
And definitely don't forget to get their names because you asked for it. You commanded it actually. I command you to state your name and your nationality for the record on a record without further comment. I demand that. I command that. And it is their responsibility as well as your responsibility to know who's talking to you. Because if people are coming to your domicile or stopping you on your travels in your conveyance or sending you even summons, like you could even use this and write this on top or in behind or some type of way outside of what? The other 45-degree angle. Do we remember the 45-degree angle when you get fraudulent documents that are not speaking to you, the natural living being, under your so-called straws that should be liened as well? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But which one? What was the first one? No contract.
No contract.
No contract. Inducement to what? Inducement to fraud. Right? And what was the third one?
The Clearfield Doctrine.
The Clearfield Doctrine was the fourth one. What was the third one? I can't remember offhand either. I'm just
Only one person.
Huh?
Wasn't it Gary Rebel versus Harry J. Tompkins?
No, you're not. How you gonna walk in here and don't know what we talking about, and then just start talking? Tiger does that a lot. Y'all know that? I gotta go find it. I'm gonna go find it so I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I don't have any. I don't know where it's at. I have it in my book. I have everything in my book because I always have to have it at a moment's notice. Because there was a third section that I cannot think of in my head because we're learning a bunch of different things in a small amount of time. There we go. Oh, I do not consent. There we go. So it's no contract. I do not consent. Inducement to fraud. Clearfield Doctrine of 1943. And that's what you want to put for all unlawful documents that you receive in the mail under a straw coming to the mailing location. Because always know that the so-called mailing location is a company. It's a company. It's a corporation. Everything is corporate, right? So when they send you any, like, it's funny because my concert or somebody received something in the mail, and y'all might have been receiving it. If y'all have so-called outstanding tickets from these de facto corporations, they'll send you, they actually said, oh, we know it's tax season.
Yeah.
Do the responsible thing and pay your bill. It literally said that. And I did my responsible thing and linked them. And put no contract, I do not consent, inducement to fraud, Clearfield Doctrine 1943. And this is what we need to do. And then exactly for the situation you had at the Recorders of Deeds, where we had a Moor who went down to the Recorder of Deeds down in the corporate territory of New Jersey. I ain't gonna say no names or no appellations, but they tried to charge her 13 Federal Reserve notes per page to record her lawful documents. So it came up to be about 400 and something Federal Reserve notes. I would have said, do not consent, no contract, inducement to fraud, Clearfield Doctrine 1943. Get in the habit of saying that too. Whenever they try to sit here and try to charge you for some stuff they're supposed to be doing because they're custodians. They can't do that. And where in the Constitution does it say they can't create bills of attainder? Can't charge you for stuff. Huh? Write that down? I'll write it down. It's no contract. 45-degree angle. You want to probably get stamps because you're going to be stamping that on everything that you receive that is in a corporate nature talking to the straw. Because if they can't talk to you, which they can't, which is why they have established this to straw to begin with. They did that on purpose, Moors. No contract. I do not consent. No contract. I do not consent. Inducement to fraud. Clearfield Doctrine 1943. And what is so important about Clearfield Doctrine 1943? Y'all gotta turn those bones down. What is the most concrete decision in that case? It has to do with Federal Reserve notes. Asking for Federal Reserve notes as a form of payment dissolves your sovereignty, even though they didn't have it to begin with, which means you are only in a contract relationship. So if I don't have a contract with you, and you can't prove I have a contract with you, which they can't, with a wet ink signature document, meaning you have to be the holder in due course of a contract where I signed and another natural being signed. No contract. I do not consent. Inducement to fraud. Clearfield Doctrine 1943. All right?
And there ain't no money.
There's money.
But you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
They're asking for Federal Reserve,
So,
but they're asking you for money.
this is about Moors knowing how to competently display and demonstrate. Not walking around getting angry and starting incitements. It's about knowing the law and enforcing the law. I am Sharon Tracy Galbay, in propria persona, sui juris, proprio solo, and in proprio paradis at all times. I am a descendant of the great Canaanites, of the pharaohs of Kemet, and the Moabites and the Canaanites. I messed that up. I am a descendant of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the Moabites and the Canaanites. I am an Aboriginal indigenous Moorish American national, and I am exercising all of my rights at this time and at all points in time. You are commanded to state your name and nationality on the record and for the record without further comment. I am the law, I am the government, and you do not have jurisdiction over me, and I command you to set me free immediately, return my property immediately, cease and desist all actions in contact, and take your leave and never return. This is your due process of my notice of intent to lien you if you not do as commanded and take your leave. And you want to be able to say that verbatim without thinking about it or going up into that recess of your brain to remember what you're reminding. So get into the habit. Some people have methods of writing it down over and over again. If you write it down over and over again, it'll help in the demonstration. She raised her hand like me. Go ahead, we are.
It's a habit. It's out of respect. Don't, you know. But the mantra, is that on the information that was given to us on the flash drive? Or
It's not on the flash drive. I can put it on the flash drive. Do you have your flash drive with you? Okay, yes, I can put it on your flash drive. But that mantra is on the Facebook group file section. It has been placed there, and everybody's been posting it. So there's going to be different derivatives of that. So it doesn't matter which one you use, but stick with one. If we have one, we can't go wrong. What did I want to say in regards to that? It's also recommended, commanded, if I have to command you, Moors, to print it out, put your appellation on there, tape that to the outside of your window of your conveyance, of your home as well, and know it and have it with you at all times. Because there's going to be situations where people are what?
The reason why I said wow is because sometimes us Moors, non-declared and declared Moors, we get pulled over for erroneous stuff, things that they know is wrong, but to incite us to anger or to put fear upon us. They tell us that you can't have that flag on your car. And they say things like that we can't. So you're saying that I can do this, but I have to. How? You get what I'm saying?
One of the things that we have to realize as Moors, a lot of social engineering has been put inside of you through trauma, through the entertainment system, to give you fears that are unjustified as well as unhuman. Not supposed to have those. Fear is a lack of information and a lack of knowledge. Because if you know for sure you are not violating any laws, you shouldn't be fearful of acting in that regards. That's one. Two is they're going to say a lot of things to submit to jurisdictions because they are what, Moors?
Bandits, outlaws, and terrorists.
Bandits, outlaws, terrorists, with no name or nationality to speak of. All right? They actually created a movie called The Highwayman. Do you really think that's by accident or coincidence? And the movie is about the so-called Bonnie and Clyde nonsense. And I only bring this up to say they're trying to show you the crap they do. They show you it in all the movies, the crap, unlawful crap that they do. A highwayman is what? A bandit. It says that in the dictionary. It's a bandit and an outlaw, doesn't say terrorist, who goes along on the highways that they don't own, terrorizing and stealing from travelers. That's exactly what they are. And that's exactly what they were doing in this movie. They were looking for Bonnie and Clyde on the highways as highwaymen to capture those two outlaws. But the only difference was they both was outlaws. So who's the better outlaw? I just bring that up just to give you clarity. And if somebody can turn that video down just a tad bit, you're right there. Just a little. I'm like, because y'all probably hear that more than, no, it's them. It's them under the table. It's long. So, where are we at? I spoke about getting your houses in order. Shalea Moore, the co-consulate general of the Moorish American Consulate, speaks about it often. And it's about getting your grid done. I was going to get that grid blown up, y'all, and put it over here. And I still might do that just for training purposes. But eventually, within the next week or two, I'm going to do 45-minute live sessions on each grid section. It's going to be a live section on how to do each thing. I'm going to do those in my home. I have to get one of these lovely big boards because I don't know why I just love this big board, which is why I always want to be in this room because of the lovely big board. And I can put a multitude of things on here because Moors always say, Sharon, I just need this information. And I'm like, I know that they're in the videos, but I'm going to do sessions off the grid. It's going to be grid 1. I'm going to name them. Okay. So you'll be able to go, okay, she did a video. Okay, I'm on grid 1A or something like that. I'm going to be that technical with you. And I'm going to do a 20-minute video on how to properly complete your nationality documents. And then you can go to each particular video for each particular part of the grid. I'm going to do that. Give me a teeny bit of time, but I'm going to start to do that probably next week in my home to give you tutorials on how to complete each section. Okay? So bear with me with that. But the point I wanted to say specifically is the first 3 things that are very, 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 very important. The reasons why the colonizers are pulling you over is because they're trying to tap into your estate. Yeah. And they can do it through the straw man and the Social Security numbers. Those are monetizable security instruments that are used to tap in to your and my estate. The way you stop them from being able to have any access to any finances without your express permission, which means I'm not giving you this under threat, duress, or coercion. I'm not giving you this just so I can eat, sleep, and do the things that I'm doing. I'm giving you this because we have a contract and you have something that I want and I have something that you want. So it has to be a mutual consent, contractual, lawful agreement. You can't sit here and just pull people over just because you want access to an estate that is not yours and doesn't belong to you. And how do you effectuate getting rid of that ability? Meaning, if you pull me over, you're getting nothing because I'm giving you nothing, right? So now we have different policy enforcers, which again are terrorists, bandits, and outlaws all over Morocco, pulling people over to get access to your straw. How do we seize up that access? We lien the straw man and the Social Security. So Moors, after you get your nationality documents, after you've nationalized, which is meaning just you signing your documents. After you nationalize, you have your nationality identification cards, or at the same time, in trust, lien those straw mans. The lien is probably in tier 3 because we're learning how to effectually lien, but that particular lien needs to go out, I think, right after the 7 locations, for real. And I'm being honest. So I might move that particular process to the first tier.
Okay.
I may do that because right after nationality, you want to get your identification cards. You send it to the 7 locations, and you lien the straw. And then you do the trust and the declaration of trust, and all the liens and the document and the lawful documents and notices that you're doing, you're putting into your trust. And you're going to put them in under the record number. And that's where you get things recorded. Hopefully within the next week or so, I'll have a Moorish tribe that will be doing the recording, because we absolutely need this to be independent of the consulate at the moment, because we're getting bombarded with declarations of trust, liens to be recorded. So we absolutely positively need that committee, so we can push that to a different email, and you can just record, so they can upload it and have it on a particular public platform that's connected to the Moorish American Consulate. That is something that I want to be inactive within the next week or two, so we can have this stuff being done a lot quicker. Just like Prophet Noble Jew Ali said, you're going to need about 12, 10, 15, 20 secretaries. We need them today, so volunteer. So we can get people record numbers fast for not only recording for nationality statuses because they are put on your documents. Why is the Moorish American Consulate record number so important?
You know, if I could make that work.
Let's talk about that. Vivi, it don't sound like you turned that down at all.
She turned it back up.
Vivi, you want me to take it from you? Y'all can sit here and listen to class too. Oops. Trying to make it big enough. All right. Moorish American Consulate record number. It's unique to each and every Moor, so every individual Moor needs their own MAC number. Okay? There's MAC numbers and then there's MAC record numbers. These are MAC numbers. MAC record numbers look like this. Followed by 9 nines. So that's what our document recording numbers are. And these are for nationality of the Moors. Why are we doing this? Somebody ask a question. Why is this necessary?
I guess the individuals identified by their number?
They're not necessarily identified by their number, but it blocks out specific people who ain't a Moor, specifically. This is why this is very, very important today. Once we have all this taken care of, we ain't gonna really need this, but we probably still keep it. We probably will. It might be in the archives, but like, look what we had to do back in the early 2000s because people was just acting like they was Americans. They was walking around talking about, oh, I'm an American, oh, I'm a white person. And because the so-called Social Security number had no way of figuring out who was who and what was what, people could hypothecate and claim what belongs to you, Moors. Whole purpose for them to even create it.
So can you just clarify for the group what an American is?
An American is the copper-colored Asiatic natives found here when Christopher Columbus supposedly came on shores.
Okay.
It's the copper-colored.
And where it can be found?
Huh?
And where it can be found, so that you know.
Black's Law 4th edition.
And also,
as well as Webster's 1829 or 28 dictionary. The older the dictionaries, the better the terminology and the more accurate the etymology is. As those, if y'all want to keep getting newer versions of stuff, you're gonna keep getting denationalized because all these newer versions of these so-called encyclopedias and different things. Does anything new happen? No, absolutely not. So why do they keep giving you newer editions? What's the newer editions about?
let them know that if you go on Google will in fact tell you exactly what Judge Sharon just said, but at the bottom they list
the references.
Right. No. They list right along with that.
The commentative?
No, but is now known as the descendants of the Europeans.
There's no such thing as now known.
Well,
etymology. Words come from a place. And the original meaning is the original meaning.
That's right.
You can't hypothecate the meaning of a word, which is why none of us learn etymology and how to really read, which is why the policy enforcers, the Albions, think they got the beat on you. But you see what we did in 1.5 years. What we did. All connotative linguistics and all. We did it in a year. Going into their schools, going to their institutions and denationalize. We learn how to get out of the grid in less than a year, Morris. That's because you are just the gods that you are, and you're brilliant. Oh, here you go, moving tables. Let me make sure my thing's all good and on fleek mode. Okay. So, but the purpose of the Moorish American Consulate record number for nationality is so you can't have this happening anymore. So you can't have that happening no more. The hypothecation of your estate. Because they can hide in their little social security numbers. You got the same darn social security numbers. There's nothing identifying you outside of a ward, an alien, a so-called white classification, so-called black classification, because all they really are concerned about is hypothecating the estate under the doctrine of discovery. Right? That's why this is important. This represents Moorish American Consulate, MAC. Moorish American Consulate represents that. This represents the region or the Amexem territory that recorded your status correction documents. So this is the Amexem region. That's Northeast. Northeast Amexem. And there's a multitude of other identifiers. There's O for Oregon, Amexem territory. West, W for West. C for Central, B for Baltimore, Maryland, R for Rhode Island, A for Mid-Atlantic, and S for Southeast. More will prop up. Those are what we have currently. So you know, they're part of the Moorish American Consulate. The Northeast region, Amexem territory is the one that recorded the nationality, and this is the number. They're all one thing. So don't just have this number, because more than one Moor is going to have that number. This is what makes it a number. All this is together. But it don't have that. It's MACN 0000000 to represent 9. All right? That's going to be put on your land titles. Or referenced on your land title. It's going to be referenced in your trust. It's going to be referenced in all of your lawful documents. Because if you have this, you are an heir to the estate. If you don't have this, you have no claims whatsoever here at Morocco. Therefore, you can't do none of this. And it's specific, because just because you were born in Northwest Amexem does not mean you are heir to the estate. It just means you were born here. Islam? So that's why this is necessary. So if you sit here and have a claim, right? And then you got an Albion who can't sit here and validate anything, meaning they don't have status. They don't have status. They don't have a nationality. And if they were to admit their status and nationality, it would be absolutely admitting that either they're a nom-de-guerre with no rights because they're property, or they are a national from some other country, therefore no estate claim rights here in Morocco. You understand what I'm saying? All right, that's why this is important. That's why you have to have this. Because everybody can't come to our tribunals, or not necessarily tribunals, our Article 3 courts. You have to have proper standing at Morocco to claim. How do you have that? Because subjects will have this. Same thing for the region in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's everybody else. If you ain't got estate claims, meaning because you're not a Moorish American national, you're subject. Meaning, you have to contract with one of these individuals, Moorish American nationals, in order to have any rights here in terms of land claims. You don't have a land claim. You would only be able to get this. But you got to get it from one of these. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? They supposed to be paying to be on our land. All right? They supposed to be paying you. That's why you are the creditors, the executors, the claimants. what's the other ones? The beneficiary, the heirs. Because they can only be that. This is your estate. Right now they are, I don't even know what I'm
Squat.
They squat. But they claim you squat on your own land. Well, some of you are because you ain't did this yet. Technically. So it's kind of like under the doctrine of discovery, well, he ain't got, but how's that even true? Because you ain't got a status. You ain't got a status, but y'all both property trying to act like y'all own something. Does that make sense? Now, Moors talk about all the time, well, what do we do? How do we do anything? Like, where do we do finance? Where do we get, what's our money? Y'all be cracking me up with this. I'll be like, okay, if you're here, everybody else is there, but yet, how many individuals that don't even have these, that are domiciling here or squatting here with corporations who've established all of these on our land using our so-called nom de guerres, hence why you can lien them. Because it all belongs to you, Moors. You just have to be in your proper person before you can effectuate those things. And you have to be a formalized government. We did our organization of, what's it called, y'all? Religious organization of, can you bring that up? You know what I'm talking about? Or you off on a tangent? He be off on tangents like all the time. Like, he be like straight off on tangents. Like, he's supposed to be my right-hand man. Why are you sitting right next to me if you... Look. Be like, yeah, where's Waldo? Waldo is right here. I know, because you're too busy working.
Somebody wanted me to get some stuff.
Religious corporation affidavit of organization and of the temple of the sun and the moon. Exactly. I know it does. Exactly. We are a formalized government. The only government on the land. Why do you think they were so mad and why they didn't want this to happen? Why didn't they want us to get in our proper person, reestablish the Moorish divan, and start acting in our sovereign capacity? Why do you think they wanted us to not do that?
So they can keep hypothecating.
So they can keep hypothecating? No. So their so-called corporations mattered and had some type of jurisdiction or in territorial and personam claims? Because while you are sleeping, they get to run amok like the children who ain't got no parents. Right? That's why they didn't want us to do this. That's why they say you're trying to act like, oh, we don't acknowledge you. How can something that's stateless, without a nationality, under a nom de guerre war name, talking about you don't recognize something? To even ask for something that is a, what's the three? Bandit, terrorist, and outlaw, to acknowledge you is to have fallen and bumped your head. Because if I'm getting wealthy, illusional wealth, because Federal Reserve notes ain't no money, and you ain't got nothing in those bank accounts, they don't exist. The wealth is in the estate, and who is utilizing it. So now when you get Mary, John, and Smith, they got to get subject. That's what's a part of subject. What's a part of subject status? What is a part of the requirements and the qualifications to even be considered a subject of Morocco? Because you do have your expatriation that says everybody is in sojourn, a subject of Morocco, if you can't claim nationality somewhere else, or if you've lost your nationality by becoming a 14th Amendment slave. You understand what I'm saying? So you already that without even having that. But to validate that, you have to have that. Everybody else who hate them more, go ahead. If you want to come to the Moorish American Consulate Court's Article 3 and try to claim something, you have to be the what? The holder in due course of a lawful contract. And you can't create a contract if you're a minor. And a minor is an incompetent individual who is not in their proper status. That's a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying?
Sharon.
Yes.
Do you still keep your social security number and that Moorish number too?
What do you mean when you say that?
But since
Do you use it? Hell
Yes.
no.
No.
Because you're going to strangle it with the lien. Because guess what? That number is the hypothecation of your estate. It represents that exactly. Hypothecation of your estate. So whenever you applying for things, you're only asking for your own stuff. And they're only giving you what they want to give you. Can you imagine if you wanted to so-called take a loan out for $10,000, you actually could take a loan out for $10 billion? And when you go to these hypothecators who are criminals, they sit here and give you, and sometimes they might even deny you based on you not paying into the so-called credit score bureaus. That hypothecation, has anybody done the darn liens on the 3 credit bureaus? Because guess what they're doing? Do you know what they're doing? All these hypothecators and fraudulent corporations who claim to have a claim against you, but yet you ain't got no contract, you ain't consent to nothing, and they ain't even talking to you, gonna go and record all this fraudulent so-called debt with those 3 boroughs. And guess what? When you try to go get your own stuff, because you are the heirs to the estate, they try to block you. While you still fill out all of those documents, they still go and cash them in and deny you your own estate. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying.
What's the 3 credit bureaus?
Equifax, TransUnion, and Experience.
Look, she knew them off the rip. Say it louder. Say it louder. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experience. Who did the lien on those fraudulent corporations sitting here hypothecating you by denying you access as a creditor because you ain't a debtor?
So that means we can put a lien on them too.
What? You can put a lien on everybody.
Corporations, including anything you created.
Especially if
All
you
non-profits in our
especially
community,
if it
they're
ain't,
corporations. Lead them all, including the ones you created.
Yes. And make them allodial, because guess what? You didn't have to incorporate. Okay, let's talk about that one. Everybody got this? Yes. And I know I go, like I said, I'm going to do the actual classes. The classes on the grid once I get that all together. So what was I saying? What was we talking about? Because it just left me that thing.
Leaning the straw man and social security number. Leaning the straw man and social
No, it was something else we were just talking about.
bureau.
Credit bureaus.
Something else. Did I leave it again? I done left it, y'all left it with me. Something I just want them to know that's what they need in order to have anything. They gotta know that. They gotta know they gotta come here and re-pledge. And part of that repledging is returning to the heirs.
They're acting like this.
Returning to the heirs all they stole and all they got. As well as paying lawful currency to be here. That's where the wealth is, y'all. It's in our commerce. Like Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, as well as you're just darn, you're flat out rich. And just like how Taj Tariq Bey says, if you don't want to work, you ain't got to. You're the heirs. Does heirs work? What does heir do? They command. That's what they do. I command you to get out my way, Becky. Well, I was going back a point. What was it? What was the
Did it
point,
have
y'all?
something to do with hypothecation?
It had
Going to
something to do
prevent
with.
and stop the
I
hypothecation
lost
of your
it.
estate.
It had something to do with Experian, the credit bureau.
That was the last thing you said.
I'm sure, or maybe I was somewhere and I lost it myself.
Lean them all.
Yes. Yes, because they're hypothecating you, right? You're the creditors, you're the claimants, and they're sitting here putting you on a tracking system, and then all of these corporations are going through them saying, oh, we can't give you this because you have all this debt. You got all this debt, so we can't give you that. But guess what? They still got your signatures on all those documents, and they still went and took those monetizable securities and cashed them in.
I said you can lean all the corporations, non-profits, everything.
Oh, we were talking about corporations. Thank you.
LLCs, everything. Get them all.
Individuals.
Get them all.
What did you do wrong? How did you jack yourselves up? How did we jack ourselves up? We created corporations. There you go. We created corporations. That was de jure. The creation of that means I thought it. I want to have what? I want to have a school, an academy, a Moorish academy. I want to teach my children how to act in their own, for their own interest. So I'm going to establish a corporation. I can do all of these things allodially without spending a damn dime. All of it. But my ignorant butt went and
knowingly and unknowingly.
yeah.
Written or orally.
Just because I can.
The IRS was
Hold on.
January 2nd.
I know I'm going to read it. You thought of a corporation or a company. He's like, oh, I want to do this. I'm going to create a corporation or a company. You can use them both together. A corporation is what? Go into any... Oh, where he going? It was a person with a faz on. He just walked right by.
Yeah, he just got here from New York.
Coming back.
It's long.
James, Brother
Oh, you
James.
got to use the bathroom?
Brother James.
Yeah, straight. It's not down the hall. You got to go back out.
And then keep tight.
So that's why they
All right. I try to do so much in there to cry.
Anybody look up corporations? It's good to look it up in an old dictionary. Because it talks about, ooh, I put it on Facebook. Didn't nobody post it? Nobody drop that off? You're going to make me look for it. You're making me mad right now. You're going to make me look for it. Corporations. Let me see if it's the Eddie Mind got it.
Corporation. 15C, an entity, usually a business, having authority under law to act as a single person distinct from the shareholders who own it and having rights to issue stock and exist indefinitely.
That's a bad definition.
Is it?
Older?
A company or group of people authorized to act as a single entity.
She said the same thing.
That's law 1.
Or get it. What we got here? Do we know if this is this an encyclopedia?
No, this is Black's Law, 3rd edition.
Oh, let's see what that say.
Oh, there you go.
Because I screenshotted it because I did the Eddie Mind.
Affirm that
At home.
legal requirements to be recognized as having legal existence.
Go to Facebook and look at my post and find it. I'll have it with me, and I can't use all my stuff. I'm trying to make sure. What?
Corporation,
Anybody know the damn etymology on corporations?
an artificial person.
Nope.
That's in the Black's. Is it in the Black's dictionary?
Yeah, she already read it.
Okay.
Anybody got an actual dictionary?
That's not
A corporation has no soul, of course, because it ain't a living being.
But yet they use corporate souls. The Vatican and the Crown and them, they use, so there's a difference, because they use corporate souls, so that you can't, all right, because they Albions, and that's how they do what they do. But for us, we not more corporations, because only corporations have names.
I have it. It's not in here.
Can you find it there?
Go into my photos. There's a picture I posted because I put it on my board, my whiteboard at home. See if y'all can find it. It's hot in here. I'm about to break out some stuff. What we got, y'all? Anybody got it? Need a black slug? No, need a black slug. There's a black slug. Well, black slug, you can go get the PDF online.
Corporation, an entity, a business having authority under law to act as a single person, distinct from the shareholders who own it, and having rights to issue stock and
all right, we'll go with that one because he's looking for the photo. Because I did the etymology breakdown. Go to photos.
I got it stronger. Yeah, you might got stronger.
Go to photos. Let me see. Let's see if it shows me some stuff.
Right.
That's right.
Why does it act like I didn't upload it? I did upload it. Facebook would be tripping me out. They try to hide stuff. It freaking was a photo.
Okay.
And I'll be looking too far.
They scanned it black and white, so. Oh yeah. It's black and white.
He got one track mind, I tell you. It's one track. It never gets up. Did y'all see that post about the pineapple? Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah, how she was just picking up. I said I was gonna buy a pineapple.
You know I'm gonna buy one just to try it, right? I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could eat them that way. You see? Knowledge is power.
Just picking a pineapple and it was coming up.
If Light was here, she could tell me, but she ain't here. Cause she posted it, I posted it about corporations. I'll repost it because I don't feel like looking for it and wasting any more time looking for it. Well, a corporation is an entity, but it's an entity. I'm not gonna go there. A corporation you can establish without doing anything beyond establishing it and operating in that capacity as a Moorish American national. Now, to incorporate it is to dissolve the de jure and the lawful allodial jurisdiction and to place it in the nom de guerre color of law jurisdiction. That's what I'm saying in a nutshell. To incorporate it by registering, contracting with the United States Service Corporation, subjecting it to the IRS, which is only for foreigners doing business on our land.
So that's like I'm saying in the EIN, right?
What?
That right there. When we subject it to the IRS, because you got to go to the IRS to get the EIN.
Why you need an EIN number?
I was just saying. That's
no, my point is, why did y'all think that y'all needed an employer identification number? How did we get jacked into these things? How did we think that we needed any of these things?
From various teaching, from various teaching.
Yup, like when you go to the so-called bank and because you want to get a bank account, and we going through all these corporate venues in order to do business on our land, right? But we can't always blame other boards giving us these suggestions because we got to be competent in our own right. We always got to sit here and take the responsibility because just because a board is charging 400, 500, 7,000 Federal Reserve notes to do business, you ain't got to pay it. Why do you choose to make those payments? What is it that makes you do it? Why do you make payments to other Moors who subject you through the corporate business because of their incompetence or their affiliation? Why are you making those payments?
Not confident.
You're not confident. You're
Conditions,
lack of knowledge, laziness, fear. You want to get it done real fast. We think that everything's a fast food service restaurant. Some things you're gonna have to learn to take your time and really manifest that, right? Laziness. I always want to say laziness because we just want to get it done. We so corporate-y, right? In our behavior, we be like, look, I just want to get this done. How much you charge? All right, here you go. Here's your payment. Do your thing. And then you don't even read the documents.
What's the last word?
Which one?
The last sentence, which is
which is only for foreigners doing business on our land. And that's what the Constitution is. It's under the UCC is a contract for foreigners to do land here. As sovereigns, are we subject to a contract that is for foreigners? No. So we can make whatever rules and laws between each other if we agree upon them. It's all about the contract. We made an agreement to be a multitude of things. We've made those agreements by mutual consent as well as activity. Realize that every time you open your mouth, you're contracting.
Verbal.
Every time you're opening your mouth, you're contracting. So know that every contract starts with what? It starts with words. It starts with intent. It starts with actual relationships. It starts with those things. So realize by incorporating your companies or your corporations that were de jure, when you thought them, they were de jure. And they became incorporated. Once you've incorporated, they became subject to color of law, personam, territorial, and other jurisdictions that are outside of your nation. Which is why the IRS be trying to act like that y'all got contracts. But did you sign contracts with IRS? When you incorporated it, you did. You signed a contract with the IRS when you incorporated because they're a part of that whole infrastructure. Because when you incorporated and registered it, you said, I need you to manage my company. You made them a trustee.
When we got the IEN number.
When you registered it, you made them the trustee of your corporation by incorporating it into their. When you incorporated it, you went from your body, a body that comes together for a specific purpose. A corporation is a body that comes together for a specific purpose. I'm going off of what I learned a couple days ago etymologically on corporation. To do a specific thing. You organized under a specific body to do a specific thing under mutual consent. So when you incorporate it, you say, look, I no longer want to do these things. I want you to do these things for me. And because they're registered and contracting with the service corporation, you're subject to everything that's involved. And that's why they sit here and try to take your stuff.
All right, if you're incorporated and you want to unincorporate,
what you got to do? That's what you're asking?
You got to lean them?
Well, lean what? The incorporated?
I guess you would lean the IRS.
Do you put it in
because this is a mandate that you have to register, you have to pay taxes, and if you're late,
because you got it in registered.
So you have to nullify that somehow. How do you do it?
So to nullify an incorporated state, just like you incorporated it, how would you unincorporate it? Affidavit of unincorporating of my corporation, something like that. It's an affidavit.
But when you do your lien, when you do your UCC, when you lien up your straw man.
That's for the straw man, but you created another. You created another. What do you call it? Entity. So now that other entity that you created and incorporated, now you have to dissolve that contract and register. So in order, the same way you did it, just undo it. And you do it through an affidavit. By sending it to who? So who would you, for corporation, companies and corporations that were incorporated because of badass advice by people who are ignorant. Or people who wanted to subject you to the corporate state. Because a lot of your brothers and sisters, brothers most likely, are subjecting you to this because you're not wanting to learn what you need to learn to educate yourself to get out of the traps that have been set by those wearing turbans and fezzes and without turbans and fezzes to snare you back in. And you can get snared in just by their ignorance as well as yours. Right? So the way you would, if you have a corporation, the way that you would get it out of this jurisdiction is to send an affidavit of whatever you want to call it, because you're de jure, right? So once Moors realize that, oh damn, I'm nationalized, but I have all these businesses. How do I fix that? I would say, is this a good term? Unincorporated?
Well, can I raise a question?
And who would you send it to?
The IRS?
That's one.
State where
You said lean everybody, right? You said lean the IRS everybody.
No, I'm talking about how would you unincorporate, meaning turn your corporation that you incorporated back into a corporation, not subject to
So
this.
you have to lean your own corporation?
I mean, you could lean it, but why lean it?
But I want
Just
to
do an affidavit.
I want to raise a question about the verbiage in leaning your straw man. It says in any derivatives. So anything that it might not be my name, my all caps name.
It is attached to it, but you also took it out of it and made its own with the EIN.
But it's also
because the Social Security number is an EIN number too.
But it's also considered.
They're not always attached.
A derivative of who your straw is. So anything attached. That's just the verbiage in that document.
Can you stand on that knowledge and competency that you're displaying? Because if a person says that if a person says, or if so-called IRS say, oh, you attached, all you did was a lien. Don't you think the more public notice you can give, the more clear directives and commands you give, the better?
Point taken. If you're asking me a question,
if you asking me,
can I stand on it?
I would. If you're asking me, does the lien of the straw man solve all problems? No, because you got more monetizable documents than just the lien. Than just the straw. Because this has its own. This is its own living creature. And it can be independent of you. Because it has its own EIN, right?
So how do we do it if we haven't opened the business yet, but we're declared more?
Well, you wouldn't do this. You would just take this out. Just don't do this.
Right. Are we registering our corporation with the Moorish American Consulate?
You can record it. Because we don't register nothing.
Okay, recording it.
You want to record, which put it on the public platform. Yo, y'all. I got this Moorish Academy. It's under this allodial trust connected to possibly the National Trust to give it more protection. These are the trustees of that corporation. And it's privately allodial. Meaning it's not subject to none of this. Right? Because as a Moor, what are you doing? How are you transacting? You're merchants. They only know how to do this because they learned it from us. Right? The only thing they put on top of our estate is the corporate stuff, the incorporated stuff. That's what they put on top of our nation. So the same way you got into it, you get out of it. You send, just like how you did the name declaration and judicial proclamation. You kind of do the same thing with your corporation. You can change some verbiage a little bit because it's not a being. It's not a natural being. It's your creation, right? But like I said, I would just create an affidavit of unincorporation, something like that, and then talk about that verbiage in it. I mean, we could, if I had a particular one that I ain't done it yet. Well, actually, I have. Years ago, I have to do that, actually. So maybe I will. Because everybody's done this. Like when you get your so-called bank accounts, they automatically give you an EIN number. They try to act like they ain't doing it. They doing it on the back end because they can't even in those corporate accounts and those corporate companies, they can't establish an account without it because they're corporate.
So that means we can put a lien on our bank accounts and so and such.
You want to put a lien on your bank account?
I'm asking.
Clarify your thought process.
You can put a lien on your bank account because I did it a couple of years ago. TD Bank tried to get me to produce a social security number on it, and I said, when? And they threatened to shut it down. So I said, when are they going to shut it down? On about a week. I'll get you something in a week. They would think I'll give them a social. A week later, I had a lien laid out. I had the threat, and I'm suing for $750 billion, and I sent it off and blasted to the Federal Reserve, to the insurance corporation. I hit every place. Oh, the account was still open, and for the last couple of years after that, and I was bouncing checks left and right. So yes.
Why is he putting that on the phone?
I was making sure. Yes. Oh yeah, I had a good time. I had a good time.
We don't even know what he.
No, but I was getting the point across.
Yeah, so as well as putting.
No.
Stop talking, Tiger.
The point is that
I'm just trying to not get you in trouble.
Really?
I'm trying to stop you from getting in trouble. He trying to say, "Oh, I did this, and I did this, and this, and this."
No, but I'm answering her question based on what she.
And I'm doing this all over the place. And I'm not saying what it is because I know not to say it on live TV.
So I'll talk to you.
Thank you.
You can lean them.
There we go. Just stick that. Stop incriminating yourselves, man. Come on, y'all. Don't be so eager to say something.
TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He like, house. Where we at, y'all? Because Tiger always takes me down a yellow brick road. Stay down the what you gonna say? Go ahead. Stay down the Aboriginal road. Stop doing detours down the yellow brick road. I know those bricks look lovely and shiny, and they'll distract you. And stay away from Becky.
Can I come up with this real quick and ask a question? Is there no trust template on the file? In the file?
Yes.
It is?
Yes. Do a search, and it'll automatically come up. Under the search, put allodial trust, and posts that are related to that will come up, and one of them be that.
I always thought you were going to search people and groups.
You can search everything. Facebook is a database. It started out as a database. Public forums. So post your allodials there. Put them in the file section. Everywhere, right? All right, so where are we at next? Liens of the straw. Who did the lien of the straw? I did mine. I've been did mine. I had to do my children. And I'm going to do them in one lien. What? What stuff? Their nationality documents? Well, you should have sent them with yours. You been sent yours? Notify. I would say that, but notify. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna have the tax per Q things sold up so people don't have to spend Federal Reserve notes on mailing. We the standing government piece and the religious organizational piece had to come out first for certain things. But the leaning of the straw man is very, very important. You don't want nobody tapping into your estate. They want access to your estate. That's what they gotta do. They gotta come see you and ask. They can't just take your stuff. Like, they've been getting so happy with just taking our stuff, Morris. So, okay, what do we want to talk about on the grids? What do we want to talk specifically about? Any questions, Morris?
Say a lien on a straw man does what?
Stops them from being able to tap into your estate.
So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
What, leaning the straw? What you want me to say? Y'all got coffee over there? Can't do warm
Person gets Social Security or disability.
I made it hot. It's hot now.
It's hot? It looks like it. I don't see those.
I'm telling you, it's hot. Stretch. Okay?
How would you know when they stop tapping in?
How would you know? Do you have to know? It stops when you do the lien. And the lien matures. Because they have a certain amount of time, 90 days, to fix whatever's broken, which caused the lien. So we lien people because of violations, right? We lien them because of violations and going off of the constitutional fold of government, going off of a lot of the lawful principles based on the supreme laws of the land. And we can do it because we're the heirs to the estate. And at one point they were trustees before we terminated that relationship and able to speak on our behalf because we couldn't speak at that particular time, right? So we gave them some so-called access to run this so-called commerce here on our land until we got our crap back together, right? So every time you put in a affidavit or a lien, you're ineffectively neutralizing their ability to move and navigate under UCC, right? So if you do liens, they'll try to find ways to circumvent it. They might just string up another so-called corporation. That one did. That's why when you go look at the GMI, what is it? GMI utility. You see things that have closed or they're no longer active. That's corporations closing down. and other ones sparking up. How are they sparking up? The corporations using those straws. They won't be able to reestablish straws. So they'll be they're effectively neutralized. Can't do anything. Which is why Macy's is closing. All the buildings have for sale signs. Everything is now so-called abandoned by the corporate state. To be what? No, come on. Claimed by the Moors. They can't get back in those buildings and do nothing. Because who's going to fund them? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Who going to fund them?
Physically take care of them.
If the land is now reconveyed back into the trust of the Moorish National Republic federal government, and all Moors are beneficiaries of that, now all you got to do, which is why we say this is such an important time frame.
Oh yeah, a new year.
Okay,
And guess what they're going to do in order to get back in the game? And guess what Prophet Noble Petrolides told them that they're going to have to do to get back in the game? When the industry shuts down, is going to do what? Open back up. And who's got to get this in order to get this to be able to do anything here? And in order for them to live, in order for them to do business, they're going to have to get subject numbers, and they're going to have to pay the rightful government, the heirs to the estate. So you wonder, are you wealthy? You're wondering how you're going to work, how you're going to eat. You're actually wondering these things. You ain't got to wonder. Because all those foreigners that know this is the place of the milk and the honey, and know that this is where all things happen and all things start and stop, they're going to be like, all right, God damn it. Let me get in the back of the line. Many going to blow their brains out. I'm just going to tell y'all that. They're going to be like, I ain't going in that line. Screw you, Moors. And they're going to be like, they're going to do that. And they're going to do their whole family already doing it.
Oh, wow.
Already doing it. Because they're arrogant like that. But the ones that are living on this and couldn't wait for this day to happen,
What comes around goes around.
and for those Albions and foreigners that live on this, gonna do this with no problem. And give everything back. And take their rightful place. Go back to those damn plantations. Go back to those places where they were before they moved all through the North Gate. Moving all of us off of our land. All those big houses, they're going to give them back. They're going to be cool with the little squatter hoods that we're going to push them in. They're going to be cool with that. Because what they come from is a lot worse than the worst place here. Way worse. Read. They were white and they were slaves. Read White Cargo. Watch. What was that movie that you keep telling me about?
Robin Hood.
I watched it 2 days ago. I watched it. It was talking all about y'all Moors. But more importantly, it was showing you how they lived. But that was just a beautiful depiction on how they lived, because it was worse than that.
Yes.
Right.
It was they were dying working in those mines. They didn't eat every day, 3 times a day, 7 times a day. They were lucky they ate once a week. Their children, kids, really do get sold at 12 and 7. As any and everything. This ain't uncommon for them. You're saying what's going on in Hollywood. Moors ain't supposed to be doing it. That's culture for them. We ain't supposed to be doing that to our babies.
Right.
We know better. That's why they're harsh when you do it, because you know freaking better than to be abusing or molesting or raping your progeny or consorts. You ain't supposed to be doing any of that, Moors. I don't give a damn how you try to convince yourself you good. You ain't supposed to be doing that. They did that. Watch. Was it? I don't think it was Queens of New York. No. Stop. What was that? The New York thingy. What was it?
Mafia.
Gangs of New York. It was Gangs of New York, but then they had movies that were the children. They didn't go to schools. They didn't have schools. They literally ran around panhandling, stealing, pickpocketing, selling their bodies at 12, 10. Yes, they didn't do what your children did. I'm not saying this to hurt anyone. It's a reality. So when you see the Pope and all of these individuals sitting here talking about what is it called, pedophilia, that is normal for them, y'all. I'm just saying. We didn't allow that stuff to go down. Not on our watch and on our land. We ain't let it go down.
What was the name of that movie with
Pizzagate?
Oliver Twist?
Same thing.
It was
they had a lot of those. That's a great point.
Right.
Oliver Twist. They had a lot of what do you call those?
Yeah.
What orphanages?
Yeah, right.
Do y'all want to go there? Orphanages?
No.
Welfare.
Parents didn't live that long because they were dying in the mines. They were dying in the mines. They were dying in factories. They were dying.
There's a big
all the time. So children were pushed into these orphanages.
There's a huge orphanage.
So they had many orphanages. I'm making a point. They had many orphanages, and in these orphanages, the children were used for a multitude of things. They were in those a lot of those factories. Because they had the small hands and were able to do things. The chimney sweeps, they were the actual original chimney sweepers. They would go put the little babies into the chimney and sweep the chimney. Some died there. I'm saying, they coming from some craziness. They gonna love that, and they gonna give all that back. They just waiting for an opportunity to do something. Just waiting, because contrary to popular belief, they victimized too. Many of them. And it's difficult to sit here and say, oh, I want to help Moors, but I'm going to die if I say something. I'm going to die if I dismiss this case. They're going to burn my house. They're going to take my children. Because all of them do, a lot of them just here right with us, because guess what? When we were in control, we took very good care of a lot of them. Don't let people think that the brutish Moors over there in Britain were like the ones here. We're not the same. We didn't behave the same. And we started fighting our brothers and sisters because of the treatment of, why do you think we did all of that? Helping. We sitting there overrun. I ain't even gonna go keep going down that rabbit hole.
King George released the jails and sent them over here. A lot of them were all
to work the corporations, the companies. They were originally called companies. The Virginia Company, the Massachusetts Bay Company,
and the plantation, Rhode Island plantation.
Rhode Island, yeah, they did those. They sent them over here. A lot of them were bamboozled. A lot of them were tricked. A lot of them were kidnapped,
mistreated. Yep.
Mistreated, yes.
I read some of that.
They did all of that.
Real bad in Pennsylvania.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And it started with the Virginia colony because that was the first one, first colony.
Health and Human Services is the big. It's the big. What do you call it? The big orphanage, especially in Philadelphia. Multi-billion-dollar budget.
And now we sit here, got all our children at orphanages. Well, they call them foster care. So
taking welfare and helping to dismantle the family.
Right, and that's part of our problem. So stop sending the sons to child support court and vice versa. Stop sending the daughters to child support court. Claim your darn estate and take care of your darn tribe.
Go to your doctor.
That's what we are supposed to do. Take care of our tribes. Take care of our heirs. And not be giving them to Albions. I should never see a little freaking Asiatic child walking around with an Albion family. I should never see that. We should feel bad about that. Really. Why isn't Planned Parenthood lean? Who did that lean yet? Do I gotta stop and get it done, y'all? Seriously?
It's more than 150.
More than 150, yes. Who gonna do Planned Parenthood? Who owns Planned Parenthood? Does anybody know?
The Vatican or the Romans?
I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to do Google.
We can lean them though, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's
Google Planned Parenthood. Because that's genocide. It's a form of genocide.
Okay.
Taj don't be lying where he's saying those feces, the babies, some of the babies he was talking about recently, they actually keep them alive and do research on them. They grind them up in burgers at McDonald's. Y'all love to eat at. All I had to do was hear that McDonald's. I'm pissed. That's what
on YouTube. It's called
mix all types of carcasses together and just say, go ahead, don't.
Sacrifices. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, they actually said the Pope was at an event, what, 2 years ago where they was trying to catch him.
Sacrifice.
And they eat them, yes. They try to, oh God, Sonya gonna go all over.
I'm sorry. Soy burger. You talking about soy burger, huh?
Soy. No. That might be code word for soul burger. It's really a soul in that burger.
Soy burger? That's not good for us. That's not good for us. Nothing soy.
She wasn't listening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What did you eat, by the way? So what was we talking about? So what was we saying? Let's see.
The child,
orphanages,
devastation, what do you call it? Molestation.
Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff. We just saw the dude from Aquaman.
Trump is helping us on that end.
And just like that darn actor, what's his name in Aquaman? I'm only putting this out there because I like that damn actor.
What's his name?
I'm pissed off that I saw that video where he was groping a little baby girl and he got 2 daughters. What? He has 2 daughters and he groping some other baby girl on camera. The dude who played Aquaman, I don't know his name. I'm saying it because you should be ashamed of yourself. My counsel showed me the freaking video. I couldn't believe it. He was sitting there like groping her and did all this. Like, oh, come here. This was in the movie. Let me show you. Bring your little butt up here. No. It was a video. Somebody he thought he was just good like that. She wasn't just gonna say, "Oh, Jessica was great." He thought she was gonna say that. Right. He was like this. Taking a photo out one of those things. And you know, she's smaller, so dig down a little bit. So he's sitting here like this, doing all this. And he actually gripped it, and she was like this.
Oh, so she did respond.
She responded. She was like 12 or less.
Wow.
I was pissed when I saw that. But he is an Albion. Yes. He has 2 children with Lisa Bonet.
Yeah, I do know that.
Or 3. 3 or 2.
A husband.
He's not mixed, he's an Albion. His mother's an Albion. There's no such thing as mixed. I don't know why you keep saying these things.
His mother's an Albion, he's Albion.
And so is Lisa Bonet's mother. She's an Albion.
Who's signing off on this for me?
I'm sitting up here reading about Planned Parenthood. They're also a tax-exempt corporation.
If that means that they're supposedly like a non-profit.
No, they're 501(c)(3) directly connected to
meaning because they do all of the human genocide and sterilization through their so-called Planned Parenthood practices. Asiatics, stay out of those venues. Stay out of them. We're going to claim our estate so you can take care of your heirs. Okay? They are your babies that you are doing these things to. But Planned Parenthood,
Margaret
Sanger, but who?
She's the founder of Planned Parenthood.
She's the founder, and who actually currently owns Planned Parenthood? Go under Wikipedia, they might have it.
That's why I might be mad.
It should be on the side. They usually have the specs on the side. I'm only bringing these up because I need y'all to get on that. That's all. I need y'all to get that done.
Sis, I have a question. Can you go back to the like you said when you laying the straw man?
Give me 1 second. All right, Planned Parenthood headquarters is in New York. It seems like all the crap is in New York.
Yeah, that's like Rome.
That's like right. It was founded in October, based on Wikipedia, October 16th, 1916, Brooklyn, New York. And that was probably because they probably had a surplus at that particular time of children and they wanted to get rid of them. And it does say tax deductible 501c3. It actually says that. Founder Margaret Sanger, Fania Manel. I don't know who currently owns it though.
Yeah, 501(c) is direct connected to the Vatican. They make their pledges and or their what do you call it? That's not pledge. What do you call it? It's their fees. Monthly
tithes.
Monthly, yeah, all that.
Can the Roman Church, they got something to do with Roman Church.
Of course.
Its headquarters is in Manhattan.
I know, it says that.
So claiming the estate.
Transition chair is Joe Solomonese. Who's the and I'm only doing this because they be genocide. That's why y'all can't have children, because they be sterilizing you. And they sterilizing you, and then when you do get abortions, they take your fetus, sell them. And that actually broke like 3 to 4 years ago in a private meeting between one of the executives down there at Planned Parenthood or one of those abortion clinic facilities, where she was admitting that they sell them for all types of corporations. So let's find out what corporations are purchasing our children that are aborted and what they're doing with them. Let's manifest that. Let's see that come out in the news in the next couple of weeks.
They're definitely in makeup.
They make makeup.
Makeup.
Yeah, makeup.
Lipstick, DNA.
And then the so-called STDs, they try to act like you have, trying to give you some more pills and stuff to give you things because HIV, it's not even real.
HIV is a
A lot of the times they diagnose you with things that you have never even had, cancer being one of them.
But they say everybody has cancer. It's called carcinogens. It all depends on where you wake it up.
It's called having an acidic body, and you're not alkaline. That means you need to eat more alkaline foods.
Exactly.
Baking soda.
Your body, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you can be cured of everything that you didn't come here with. If you don't have a genetic disposition to certain things, you can be cured of it.
Baking soda kills any and all stages of cancer.
Uncommon blood type is O.
Sodium bicarbonate.
Negative and O positive.
That's the most ancient blood type on the land. Yep. The OGs are the OGs.
Yeah, I'm all negative.
All right, so what are we talking about? You wanted to go back to?
I want to know how to.
When you laying the straw man, say the person is still working.
Has no effect on them.
It won't have no effect on Federal Reserve.
So the claiming the estate, that includes claiming putting a lien on a straw man. That's the
putting a lien on a straw man is stopping them from tapping into it unlawfully and illegally.
And that can also stop you from being accosted by the municipal.
Yes, it's stopping them from pulling you over. The only reason they're pulling you over is under UCC. They're pulling you over to trying to contract because they want finance. They're highwaymen, they're bandits, terrorists, and outlaws. And all of their so-called wives work in the county office, just so you know.
Yeah, under different names.
I can say all of these things. What else we talk about? So what else did you want to know about the liens? What else? Get them done so you can stop being messed with. Because all of the finances that is accessible is yours. You're not supposed to have a social security card, number, or a birth certificate to access any of your stuff. When you go into a supermarket, the only thing you need is your nationality identification card validating your status as a Moorish American national.
And it shouldn't have to pay anything, right?
And you shouldn't be paying for anything. That's why everybody's supposed to be liens. And those liens are directives on repatriating back into the constitutional fold of government, in a sense. Because your liens are going to say, this is for all Moors. All Moors have this right. All they have to show you is validation status, because the reality is everybody that looks brown ain't an Asiatic. Everybody that looks brown ain't Asiatic. You got to do the test. Who's your grandmom and who's your mom?
Right.
I see my great-grandparents on both sides.
And it's not a disrespect to you who are not. You've just been so used to hypothecating what belongs to the Moors, and you've gotten damn comfortable in doing that. And we're not going to feel bad because you're not a Moor. You're just not.
It's not our fault.
It's not our fault. You got to blame whoever brought you into this manifestation, because it was not Sharon Tracy Elbay. And I won't take that. I'm not taking it. We have to be angry with the people who deserve the anger. That's mommy and daddy. They the ones sold us this nonsense. We're like, how the hell you got me thinking I'm an American and I'm a damn Albion? Or how the heck you got me thinking I'm a damn black person and I'm an Asiatic, Aboriginal, and I got all this and I'm sitting here working every day at fucking McDonald's where they filleting my babies. filleting them.
Mixing them in.
That's why I don't eat them
Baby
anymore.
DNA.
I don't go there and eat them.
Wondering why y'all were out there acting like animals.
Why it tastes like cardboard.
I mean, back in the day, don't get it twisted. Back in the day, we thought those burgers was all that. Don't even lie. Yes, we did.
They were real
We
hamburgers.
would buy like 4 of them.
There were hamburgers back in the 70s.
Well, I don't know about the 70s, because then you went. How you go that far? You ain't that old.
I was.
You are not that old.
I was born in the 60s.
So you talk about when you were 12.
We
Right,
don't
the
crack.
12, they were hamburgers. They were hamburgers back in the. Oh, all right.
You think that was hamburger back? What? But let me tell you.
Compared to now,
See, we always go on tangents. What else we talking about? All right, what y'all want to talk about? One topic. Let's see Facebook if y'all ain't got nothing.
That's a crazy question.
Oh, you do have a question. Where the babies at? Are they still under the table?
No.
They done snuck their little butts outside.
Yeah.
They was trying. That's like we're gonna wait till they get all up in it. They know how. Our children are the best at.
They were beating me up. What they beating? I don't know.
But I noticed ain't nobody else noticed. You be like, can't hear them, ain't worried about them, right? What's your question, Robin?
I have a question. When our brothers and sisters who are conscious and who are Moors have in fact and in deed not had their children in the system at all. They had their children at home like we were supposed to do, and so they're not connected in any way to the government. So when now
To what?
To the de facto
Yeah, you
government.
better say that.
Okay.
Don't say government at all. But go ahead.
Okay, I apologize. To the corporation, okay?
The Service Corporation. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So with that being said, there will be no need for those individuals to then have to need a status correction.
No, they just need nationality identification card. That's it.
Right, and proclamation.
In the birth record,
Right.
allodially. Why would they need a proclamation? They never came out of the damn womb.
But
They always.
they just for the record, declaring and proclaiming.
Because the
that
name
they are
is.
who they say they are.
But here, I mean, you could do that, but at the same time, the name declaration is a correction. If no correction needs to be made, why make the correction?
Right. So I'm saying the judicial.
You can do the judicial
That's what
because that's just telling. Yes,
Exactly.
do the proclamation,
Exactly.
but you don't have to do the name correction.
I got a question.
So that's the case here.
Okay, yes.
I have a question. Point that out. It makes sense.
But tell them to make sure they do the live birth record. Do the birth record. There's a specific document.
So you hear that, right? Do the live birth record.
And the live birth record just states.
Even on ourselves too, right?
Huh?
Even on ourselves, because
Just for the babies
My
that's
brother,
born now.
my brother and my brothers and my sisters, excuse me, for the record, please do the live birth. Go ahead.
It's a live birth record. Just like how they do the so-called birth certificate, you're doing a live birth record. And the birth record just states who the mommy is, who the daddy is, your trinity, and then it states location of live birth. And then if it's a baby, you want to do the footprint, and if they are not babies, you do the hand, whichever one, foot or hand.
And so can they send that to you?
You don't necessarily need to send your certificate of live, not certificate, I'm sorry, your allodial live birth record, but you can have it recorded. But if you wanted to stamp and seal, we can do that as well.
Right.
Either
Okay.
one.
So you got that. Okay.
Wait, say that again?
Paxton Moore.
I have a question.
This is for babies that were not born in a hospital and have been denationalized with a non-begeer, meaning they don't have a social security or a certificate of birth. Because keep in mind, we had so-called family Bibles, and they weren't tribal Bibles. Let's call them that, where we recorded all of our heirs as they were born, and we had those records, and we didn't have to produce those records to anybody. Because why would you tell people any pertinent information about your tribe? You don't have to produce those things.
That's why they came up with the Census Bureau. Try to
weed us out.
Right. And then their Census Bureau also denotes too, because you were considered property, how many so-called representatives they had. So it was specific to representation in their so-called government.
Now, when you lean the straw, how does that affect the probate and the vital statistics? will that make it positive for us? I want to know because I was looking at the birth, the allodial birth as well for myself because I don't have one. I have.
Do you need one for what? What do you need it for?
That's that stuff.
No. We just have. Don't we have a? I saw a allodial birth for birth.
Yeah, for babies that are coming in.
But
you're already here.
No, but it should. But I was thinking of creating a record that I came here, go back in time.
How you gonna go back in time? You don't got a baby footprint.
Just thinking.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, what's the point? Like he gonna have a whole concept.
But still, there's still the probate issue, and there's still the vital
What's
statistics.
the probate issue and what's the vital statistics? What
That's what I'm asking. No, that's what I'm asking about.
What is probate? What is probate? Because you know what probate means, right?
They taking your estate, making a
No, probate means that they are interceding on your ignorant behalf.
He's mixing processes.
Yes, I know, and it gets on my nerves.
No, you can't. You probate is when they do something against you, but it's that they don't have no right to. So stop feeding into their.
You know, as well as vital statistics. Our vital statistics is our Moorish American Consulate with our census checks. That's what our vital statistics. Don't care what they put in their system because all of it's fraudulent anyway. Because they don't claim, they don't own anything.
So when we do the lean against the straw, they actually clears it all up right there. The lean against the straw.
Why are we doing the lean against the straw?
To keep them from digging into our estate.
All right. So what's the question?
Okay, that answered my question.
Y'all make it complex. You
overthinking
sure
it.
Y'all overthink it because they done put process over process over process over process. You don't realize once you just take all those layers, it's simple. Very. It's quite simple.
Proclamation Declaration.
Proclamation Declaration. Any other questions? Where we at on the grids? So you know nationality, trust, because we're gonna close because
where we at? Where I'm at? Or where you at?
No, in general, like get y'all liens done get your liens for your straw, and that's your straw and your social in one document. For your whole for all your children. And Light has told me that we can add all of the children in one, so I ain't got to do a separate one. Because some of y'all have like children. Woo! I don't know how you get through that. Got a big old tribe.
Wait a minute.
All right, anybody have any questions on here?
One more.
Go ahead, Mama.
If we can put a lien on the straw, the social, and our children on the same document, can we also add our parents and other family members?
You mean tribal members?
Yes.
I don't see why not.
It depends.
I don't see why not.
Really
Because they're all transmitted utilities. I don't see why not. Just like how we do so-called the Pennsylvania Corporation, and then we put doing business as, we do all those. I don't see why not. Get it all done in one link.
So you only add the people named that proclaim their nationality.
Say it again?
You can't.
No, you're gonna stop them from picking up your tribal members under the nom de guerre, but at the same time, they still might bond out. They still might get a lawyer. An attorney. They still might do those things. So it's like they're gonna be like, look, I don't know what you're talking about with this lawyer science stuff. I'm gonna get this attorney.
Okay, so
but they might not. But they won't have access to the estate through the straw man. But they'll keep giving them the fiat that they want. Therefore, keep offending them.
Sharon, how do you do a lien?
Light has the lien classes, and it's really simple. I think because we're not used to these things, they seem very convoluted and annoying. But they are quite simple.
That's you have a template, correct?
Yes, there's a template on how to do it.
That kills it.
She does her. I don't know if she's gonna do it this week, this weekend, but she normally does them on Saturdays at like 6 p.m. Eastern time. No, on Facebook on a free conference call. She usually does them on free conference call, but she has a YouTube channel. It's called Light to Jerry Bay, and she has I think 1 or 2 videos on there. Plus, she has one that's circulating around on Facebook that you can't track on YouTube.
So there isn't a liens class on Thursday nights here? No. Not here in this location, but here in Pennsylvania.
Lead class? No, the class that we normally have on Thursday is it's an open forum for all Moorish American nationals. Shalamore Bay holds that class on Thursday, 7 p.m. on Free Conference Call. And that's and those links for those classes are in the announcement section of the group on Facebook. So you can have that information there.
Where's the Lane's class at 7 p.m. on Saturday?
6.
Is it 6 p.m.?
6 p.m. on Saturday. That's on Free Conference Call too. That's on Light platform.
Now
I want to have another class during the week, but I got to figure that out. And that will be not a live class. It would be just a regular class with locals.
the Master Tariq Bay.
Tariq Bay?
Yes. Does he perform here? I mean,
Tariq Bay's in Colorado, corporate territory. So he has classes on, I think he has one tomorrow on Facebook.
Excuse me, are you talking about Grand Sheik, Taj Tariq?
Oh, you're talking about Taj Tariq Bay. Oh, he has classes on House of Reawakening Minds on Fridays. That's in New Delaware. And he every other Friday. It's House of Reawakening Minds. Every Friday, House of Reawakening Minds usually has a conference. Taj is there usually.
You said House of Remaking of Minds.
Reawakening Minds.
Right, and it's the lectures respectively, and also you have to find out because in the York House in Philadelphia on OU Road, I believe.
House of Ram means House of Reawakening Minds.
Okay.
So,
I'm saying, okay.
So again, you have to find out.
Wait a minute, it's Wilmington.
Mm-hmm. Right. But also in Philadelphia on Old York Road. In the York House.
The York House has classes, but I don't have a schedule. I don't know how often they do it.
That's like 5 minutes walk from my house.
Oh, is it really? Wow. Sinra Bay. Sinra Bay holds still classes. I always say it wrong. My apologies. Sinra Bay. I don't know anything about I just know I've been there quite a few times.
I'll find out.
Really? Wow.
Is that the apartment?
The apartment is in the
hospital right across the street.
Yeah. That was a hospital across the street?
Thursdays.
So don't hold us to this, but it's like the third Saturday, I believe, out of every month.
You gotta go to the website to make sure.
Right. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Like
It changes.
You're talking about Taj Tariq Bay?
That's correct.
First and third Friday of every month.
Down in Delaware.
In Delaware.
But he also, but the House of Reawakening Minds always has other presenters there every Friday. Like they do Rick Wright class.
It's just not Taj Tariq.
Fourth
Grand
Friday of every month.
Grand Sheik.
Aaron Eel.
Yeah, and he's also the martial artist too. I think. I need to get class. We need to get classes with him starting at least once a month for martial arts training.
That would be great.
Oh, okay.
We need to do that. Find a venue to get that done. Maybe we should do that at the Old York House.
That would be great.
He says GS.
That'd be great, actually. We're gonna get off the fly video, and I'm gonna talk to the Moors that are here locally. Thanks to Moore. Peace and love, y'all.
Sharon, before I leave, can you show me?
I don't even know how to stop this.
I
always. I'm laughing at me. Oh, I'm sitting here trying to stop it here, and I'm up there. That's funny.
Okay, you know what?
Oh, let me tell y'all something. Oh, I forgot to let y'all know. Y'all ain't noticed that there were no interruptions in the phone because I figured out how to do the do not disturb on the phone. So there were no interruptions. Aren't you happy, 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 joy, joy? And it was something so stupid, I should have been new. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Robin, always working. Oh, I'm about to say, what she just do? Look at the Moors, y'all. Islam Moors. Oh, love you right all up in there. Yes, you are.